Okay, so why did I say satire is dying? Well, mostly on Twitter. Well, it's for two reasons, but continuing our theme of showing and not telling, I'm just gonna give you guys an example, a very, very recent example. So this was a post from 2 days ago. This guy says celebrating this month as a boyfriend of a bisexual woman. So he's a straight man saying that he's gonna celebrate Pride as the boyfriend of a bisexual woman. That's the extent of his allyship, is that he is in relation with a bisexual woman. And he announces this, and whether or not this person, I don't know if this person is being ironic. I actually cannot tell. I didn't look at his like follow-up tweets or anything like that. But whether or not he's being ironic, it is kind of ridiculous to like be a straight man and then just say like, "Hey, I'm supporting gay people because I have a girlfriend that is gay. Everybody love me now." Like that's ridiculous, right? Regardless of whether or not he's being ironic, it's a ridiculous statement to make. This person quote tweets it with a picture, which basically is like the LGBTQ community thriving and surviving in this paradise, and that's only possible because the soldiers at the bottom carrying them up, and the soldiers are labeled as straight boyfriends of bisexual women. And they also caption this by saying, "Let's go." This is obviously ironic. I don't think anyone agrees that straight boyfriends of bisexual women are the pillars of the gay community. There's just no way anyone believes this. And this is a very popular tweet. It's got 154 likes as of now. And there's a lot of people liking this tweet because it's funny. It's funny because it does two things. It makes a very satirical post and makes fun of straight boyfriends of bisexual women, but it also makes fun of Big Ryan down there, who said that, "Hey guys, I'm celebrating this month as a boyfriend of a bisexual woman." And it also does another thing too, where it kind of has like just a slight, like I don't want to say truth here, but it has a slight like reasonable explanation for why someone might even think about this being unironic. And that's because typically when, Pride Month comes around and the Pride Parade comes around, bisexual women, they usually rely on their straight boyfriends for transportation, or their straight boyfriends give them money, stuff like that. Like, it just like drops in the bucket when it comes to support of the LGBTQ community. That's what makes it funny though, because it's using exaggeration to kind of like paint straight boyfriends as like they're the pillar, but they're really not. In the same way that, like, going back to the Trump comic, where if you want to say that Trump is racist, just depict him as a Nazi to get people's attention. This one, if you want to show how ridiculous Big Ryan is saying that he's celebrating this month, then just show straight boyfriends as if they're the pillar of the LGBTQ community to make Ryan look stupid. Because that's what, even if Ryan didn't say that, that's what he sounds like he's saying. So this graphic kind of just shows that. It's funny, it's satirical, it's not supposed to be taken seriously. However, this person says they quote tweeted with the same picture, but they relabeled the straight boyfriend as trans women of color. Now, this is not ironic. This is literal. This person genuinely agrees that trans women of color are, the pillars of the gay community. And this is actually going to be the first time in this video that I explicitly state my political views. I do agree with this post. I do agree with the quoted post here that trans women of color, yeah, I'd say they're a pretty big bastion of the gay community for sure. But like, no one disagreed with that. Like, no one in that, not even the original post disagreed with that, even when it's ironic and satirical post. In fact, they might even agree with you. You're just quote tweeting this with the same thing, just in a different literal context. And the reason why I don't like this, and the reason why, even though I agree with this wholeheartedly, I hate this interaction, is because they come at this with like such a smug way, and they say, "Hey, fix it for you, buddy. You're wrong. Straight men aren't the fucking pillars of the gay community." And it's like, no one agreed with that. In fact, they're saying the opposite. By painting straight men as like the pillar of the LGBTQ community, they're showing how ridiculous it even is to think that. Even if you agree with it even a little bit, it shows how stupid it is to even say that. It's exposing people's vices or their beliefs in a way that ridicules them. That's what the satirical post is for. And it's also ironic because it's ironic to say that a straight person is the pillar of the gay community. That's just not true. And bringing that to light makes it more obvious. And what kind of pisses me off even more is when people try to go into the replies of this tweet and they tell the person like, "Hey, by the way, didn't know if you knew, but this is a joke. Like, this is satire." And the most common response to that is, "Oh, well, jokes are supposed to be funny. Jokes are, supposed to make me laugh. This didn't make me laugh, so it's still wrong." But it's like, I thought making fun of cisgender heterosexual men would be right up your alley. Like, the only logical explanation I could give for this, for you not understanding, is that you just didn't get the joke. You just didn't get that it was satire. And it's okay to say this. And even if you want to make the argument that this post right here is in poor taste, it's not, because it's clearly ironic, and it's literally agreeing with what the person who quoted it says. Like, it's literally saying that, hey, straight men are not the pillars of the gay community. Like, it's agreeing with you. It's not in poor taste. It's in great taste, actually. It's exquisite taste, I would argue. This is a great way to communicate that message without simply just saying trans women of color are the pillars of the gay community. Like this is fine and cool, and this is nice to say, but it's not as effective as like joking or making fun of like cisgender heterosexual men who try to celebrate Pride Month with their bisexual girlfriends. Like, ironically, like, the joke post has more nuance than your literal post. Now, am I saying that satire is dying because people can't take a joke or they don't understand satire and that they were rather literal meanings when it comes to politics as opposed to joking about stuff like this? No, that's completely fine. That's just your taste. My main reason, that's one of the reasons, but the main reason why I feel like satire is dying is because the people that we are making fun of are slowly becoming actual people. And there's actually a really good quote that relates to this. This is from a Canadian journalist named Graydon Carter, who says, satire works best when it hews close to the line between outlandish and the possible, and as that line continues to grow thinner, the satirist's task becomes ever more difficult. And this is basically saying that the more and more that the people we make fun of through satire become real, the less and less that it becomes satire and more just like documentary. This, like the difference between outlandish and possible is so wide that we can look at this and say, yes, this is satire, this is funny, that's the joke. The joke is that no one believes this. But showing it like this, you know, it gets a cackle out of you because it's like there's no way you believe this. And no one does, thankfully. But the people I tend to make fun of, and this is more of a personal thing here, I tend to make fun of men who are sexist, people who are hypersexual, people who have no consideration for other people's, like, you know, lives or their feelings. I tend to make fun of those people, and I tend to do that through satire. Like, if I had like a female friend who got in the car and drove, you know, they cranked up the engine, like I would probably joke and get in like a praying position because I'm like implying that, you know, she's gonna crash and that I can only rely on God to save me from a female driver. Like, that's satire. I'm hyper exaggerating the chances of us crashing because she's a woman. It's a sexist, satirical gesture by me, but it's supposed to be funny. I'm doing it to make her laugh. Not only that, I'm making fun of people who believe that women are worse drivers just because they're women. Like, I'm by praying in a car just because my friend got in on behind the wheel, I am showing how ridiculous it is that people actually believe that you know, your gender affects how good you can drive. I'm making fun of these sexist people. I'm not being sexist myself. However, because there are more and more people who genuinely believe that to the point where they might even pray unironically, I look less and less like a mockery and more like just another part of the, you know, bad apples. Like, at what point is it not satire now? Well, that just depends on how real it is. It's possible that people, you know, get in the car and pray. I have no doubt that there are some daughters driving their dad and they're like, you know, grabbing onto the handle that's at the top of the window and like praying to God. Like that's probably a real situation. I can no longer make the joke because my friend might take it offensively, and I can't blame her for that. So that is like the main reason. But that combined with this like example right here, this little interaction here, that what I just explained combined with people not understanding satire in most cases, those two combined is just killing satire. And it's mostly on Twitter too. I will admit that when you go on YouTube or you go on Reddit, the most top comments or the most upvoted comments are usually some form of irony, satire, or exaggeration. Like, people on those platforms get it. But I think Twitter is just a place where like the most extremist views and the most hateful comments can just be thrown out with zero consequence, that people probably unironically think they can get away with posting a picture like this unironically, and thus making satire a lot less effective because you don't know if this person is being serious or not, because you have seen something that was just as crazy and they were being serious. That's the main reason why I believe that satire is dying. So I took about 20 minutes to get to my point here, but you know, this was something that was kind of weighing on my conscience a lot. I can also go into depth about like how neurodivergence is a double-edged sword when dealing with irony, but this video is already long enough. If one person in the comments below would like me to discuss how neurodivergence can affect satire, irony, and all that stuff like that, then I will happily make a follow-up video, but I think I got my point across. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Who knows what the next video will be about. Peace.